Podcast, bringing wisdom home.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
What episode is this?
This is episode 4 of season 3. And would you guys call this like a sobering topic? A little bit of a sobering topic today?
Yeah. Do we need to put like a sticker on this one?
Like,
yeah.
Like maybe not have this on the house speakers, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Today.
It's going to get pretty real.
Yeah.
We're going to go into some real topics. It's going to be about dopamine, AI, chatgpt, social media, Facebook groups, validation loops.
Might use the P word. I don't know.
Use the P word. Yep. We might use the P word to be revealed later. And partly this episode is also an announcement in a way of kind of a mass migration that we're doing in our course offerings from Facebook, from, let's say, more of these dopamine-driven spaces, and we'll talk about that in a second, to platforms that are feeling more congruent with our nervous systems and kind of the build-out that we want to create for the women and the men in our spaces. And we will elaborate on that later. First, since we are sitting here, us three, in these cute outfits, we wanted to talk about our clothes.
And since we also forgot last
We did
episode,
not do it last week.
We will do better.
Ask in the comment section if you want to know anything about what we were wearing last week. Michelle, would you like to start with this beautiful dress?
I will start with raw silk from Sueño again. I told you I love this. I love this company. I love this brand. This is hand dyed on Kauai. And I love it. And pearl from Emery's, which is down in Paia and Wailea.
Looks so good on you.
Thanks.
It's raw silk this time.
It's raw.
Last time you had
It was a polished
silk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so good. I'm wearing acacia, and this is like my Easter Sunday dress, but I have it on because it's summertime still. I love that store. I love that brand. It was started by somebody here on Maui, and she's done a really good job with. I'm really inspired by all of her ready-to-wear clothing. So
I love that their flagship is in Paia.
Yeah.
I love that.
So their flagship is here. And then these earrings are actually from her store as well.
Cool.
It's from a local artisan, but she sells them at the store.
Yeah, I got my hoops local too. They're tribe.
Oh, yeah.
But they're oblong instead of round.
They look great.
Monarch. Again.
Oh, yeah.
We
Monarch
love some local jewelry. You guys know this.
Yep.
This is what was once Jen's Pirate Booty, and it has rebranded to the Jen Rossi collection. You can also find a lot of that stuff on the Free People website. Like the striped dress you guys always ask about from season 2. When I was pregnant, it's like a Jen Rossi dress, but I got it from Free People. So you can sometimes shop both. It's my pirate shirt.
I love it.
I love a good pirate shirt.
Looks great on you.
Yeah.
Y'all know these Abercrombie 90s cut, 90s fit, high-waisted
We
jeans.
call those mom jeans.
Mom jeans. Love the mom jeans. And then, like I said, these are from Monarch. I do not know the exact artist that made these, but you can find them on the Monarch website. So let's just start with painting a picture of dopamine. I'm sure you guys are familiar with at least the word or just a general meaning of it. And obviously the last 5 years especially, because social media came on the rise and then smartphones. And what happened over the last 5 years with the addition of TikTok is, all the social media apps kind of like compete with each other, right? So when TikTok became a thing, then YouTube developed like the YouTube Shorts and the quicker scrolling and the reward system of it going to the next video. We've seen this with like even Netflix back in the day, right? You actually know the woman who created, we talked about this in season 1, who created the
next button.
She created the next button, or it will play again in 10 seconds or something like that.
The loop button.
And then she was like, skirt, I'm leaving.
Peace out, people.
She's like, I'm a little out of my.
I'm gonna go live in nature now.
Yes,
Y'all have a
Literally.
good time with that. She does.
Yeah, she moved to nature. That's what happened.
She's so
She's like,
funny.
peace out, people.
But
I'm
she
not
got
doing that anymore.
all of her investments, all of her, you know what I mean? She's like, I did my time.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go actually live.
And she's a
Be
super
alive.
super genius.
Yep.
We love her for that. And that button actually is the idea behind it, of course, is keeping people longer on the actual platform. But the button itself that says like, this will switch to the next video, that in and of itself presents a reward for sitting around. And like, if I wait 12 seconds, then I don't have to do anything. The next one switches over. So there's this reward activity that is associated with the button. And that really, what happened on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok as a whole is everything got shorter, shortened attention spans, and then increased reward for staying in the platforms longer.
It rewards you for inactivity.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it.
Rewind.
It rewards you for inactivity.
Dude.
For
That
your
is-
brain to be centralized
Yeah.
into this one piece and have no neural connections being made at the time.
Yeah.
That was a mic drop. I don't even know if y'all realize how big of a mic drop that was. And so that's kind of the element of maybe what we know about dopamine. Do we want to go into more of the science of dopamine just for the sake of it?
I mean,
It's all, I feel like it's all researchable. You know what I mean? You can look up online, you can see what's actually happening in the brain, but the reward system is a huge part of this. And this is really what we want to touch on.
and the chemical dopamine is in relationship to other neurotransmitters, right? And it functions in the synapse between two neurons, and it has a purpose, it has a role, and it's there as part of the reward system.
And I would also say it's like the connection neurotransmitter, right? So
Yes.
connection, like physical touch. It's also the challenge, right? So like when you're going out, the reward system. So when you're facing something that's challenging or new or an obstacle, like your body, like think about climbing Mount Everest. Like most people don't climb Mount Everest to like, just have a view.
Good point.
There's something that happens along the way.
Yeah,
in
that's
their
why I wake up in
chemistry.
the morning and put on 20 pounds and do a 1,000-foot gain in over 5.5 miles, right? Something
Yep.
like that.
And then creativity is another element, a beautiful element of dopamine. Yeah.
That is
Connection, creativity, challenge.
That's a fascinating connection to think about, that there's an innate system in us that does have a reward based off of what you have created up until that thing. But then going back to what you just said, the mic drop moment is that dopamine now is accessed through inactivity
Right.
and sedentary lifestyle and actually taking a very passive backseat in your life.
Your body's not doing anything to get it
Yes.
or get the hit or the impulse or the impetus, right? So now it's like twisted. It's outside of the body in a sense now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what about this baseline idea of dopamine?
Yeah, we were just chatting about
Yeah.
that like pre-podcast, but it's this idea that we all have a set point for the amount of dopamine and receptors that our neurochemistry desires. And those set points can be formed by all kinds of things, right? So it can be formed by your time in nature. It can be formed by your time on a screen. It could be formed by your lack of connection or touch from a physical touch from someone. So we all have these set points. And I guess the question really is like, what is the screen time or the addiction to this technology? How is it altering your set point?
Your grid is the key. So know thyself, because knowing yourself and knowing your grid actually puts everything we're going to say into context, because people tend to make things good, bad, right, and wrong. They get very binary, very dualistic with it, and that this is bad. Well, actually, that's not the way we're going to look at it. It's just that who are you? What's your grid? How's your production? What are you contextualizing that with? And then what steps do you want to take to change it? That's a vessel process.
It's the vessel process.
It's the vessel process.
And so even this conversation, we want it to be contextualized in the sense of, hey, we're not saying technology's bad, ChatGPT is bad, the phone's bad, the Facebook group, like
We all use
we
all
are
of that
using
in our work and our business.
and like the convenience of it is there are so many plus sides and benefits, and it is just a tool. How do you want it to serve you, or do you want to be a slave to it? My husband always would be like, yeah, it's just like a hammer. Like you could use a hammer to like build my house, or you could use a hammer to like hit your kid. Like which way you gonna do it? And I'm like,
Whoa.
it's a little extreme. It's a little extreme. But
She
you could use a hammer in multiple ways, right? So don't hit your kids with your hammer. Build your house with your technology.
One of my favorite Michelle quotes is, women are always creating. Are you creating beauty, or are you creating drama and chaos? We're creational beings. Which one is it gonna be?
They both give a feedback loop.
They do. And so
AKA dopamine hit.
What?
right. that. And I feel like that's such a great segue into the contextual understanding of how we might see the relationship of dopamine in our lives, how we're using dopamine in our lives. And we could talk about some examples of how this might show up in relationships, because to get, let's say a woman is kind of in the loop of more creating drama and creating chaos. The rise that she gets from her husband, to even get a reaction out of the husband, is actually dopamine driven. And then if she's also getting a rise out of herself, that's cortisol. And are you laughing because you're
I'm sorry. My son was over this morning. We were having coffee. We're having this conversation.
Love it.
No way.
Yeah,
anything you want to share?
No,
with
go
us?
ahead.
Anything you
We
want to
can
share
talk
with the group?
Maybe in the kitchen.
kitchen
Don't
session?
Yeah, go
share
ahead.
in the back.
And so, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about some examples of whether we're pulling from our own life or just examples of how we might be using dopamine in the sense of actually creating from inaction and then getting the reward system from really not creating anything productive or like
Yeah, or
moving forward
intentional.
with that. Do you have any examples of dopamine seeking behavior?
The thing that just it makes me think of, because I was thinking about this, and there's a lot of examples of this in chiropractic school for me when we would be like dopamined out basically at the end of the day, and you've gone to class from, I've already talked about this, but like 7 to 5 on most days. And, teacher under fluorescent lights, and teachers are just like they're pounding information into you, and your body's not moving, or you are literally stagnant. You're not doing anything. You're just taking in information. So everything's drained. Everything's drained. So what a lot of women and men, I guess, too, in the curriculum would do is they would go home and binge Netflix, or they would call it like, I just need to shut my brain off. But what they're really doing is, I need someone to give me more of this dopamine serotonin right now, because I have nothing to give. It's just been like worked out throughout the day. So I'm just going to sit passively and accept all this, right?
Wow.
Click a button, scroll on the phone, whatever it is. But like that brain shut off.
Wow.
That's what comes up for me whenever I hear that.
Yes.
But is it really brain shut off, or is it just?
It's not.
Yeah, it's the overdrive of another system
Exactly.
that gives you the feeling of balance,
Right.
in a
Ooh,
sense.
yes.
So
It's the
still-
illusion of balance.
Illusion of balance.
And it's still that neurotransmitter like kick, right?
Right.
Without doing anything.
Right.
Without having to get past
Move your
threshold.
body.
Yeah.
Put your muscles in action to reduce the cortisol or whatever.
And that being more of a sustainable, clearly more of a sustainable system would be to like just go have a walk, go have a sunset walk.
Right.
Or like go hug your spouse, or I don't know, like whatever the other solutions would be, but the other pieces that are more connective, creative, or challenging.
well, that's almost like a discharge too, right?
Ooh,
so
yes.
where's the discharge? It's like, binge watching does not give you the discharge.
It reminds me too of hearing that and then hearing the lack of movement, with how much feedback us three have received through women who have implemented a bow practice, or there's women in my Radiant Summer Challenge, or they've incorporated some sort of rucking or weightlifting routine, and they've started moving their bodies. And they're like, oh, I can actually listen to the Village Sessions podcast now, because before I just was left with anger. Because if you think about it, if there's not a movement practice in your life and you are choosing stagnation, that there's such an energetic presence of that too.
You mean they were provoked?
Think about being provoked and then just sitting there. You'd shut off the thing that provoked you. And so actually moving your body and creating steps for your life towards integration, you're actually able to like use the information and bring it down and do something with it. So that's really interesting when I think about like the brain and overdrive, and then siting there all day and being like, just that, like, how would you describe it? Frustration or just exhaustion?
Overwhelm. I mean, I
Overwhelm?
think overwhelm was like my main experience in chiropractic school. Overwhelm and exhaustion at points. Yeah.
Overwhelmed to the point where no action is taken, basically.
Yeah.
Versus like, I wonder what schools, education systems would look like if there was like movement incorporated with.
I was the crazy girl in the back, and everybody who's listening that went to chiropractic school with me knows I was like doing handstands behind some of the poles and like standing on balance pads.
Inversions?
And I was like, I can't stand here any longer. I can't sit here any longer.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
It makes me nuts too. I was that girl too. I'd be like laying in the floor with my legs up the wall, or something. I was the kid. I was that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What-
this was in college, in nursing school, so.
What examples come up for you whenever you think about it?
Well, the relationship piece I feel like is so good in seeing ourselves in that, with looking for a reaction out of somebody, or like I have an example I've shared with Molly, I was sharing with Michelle too, of I had noticed a feedback loop with my kids where with my son, if we ever showed him like a longer form video, which probably was like fast frame rates. And I mean, Kyle was even just talking about studies that they've done on frame rates of like shows for kids, things like that. And if it was something more in the realm of like animated versus something on YouTube that was like slow, we would notice about a 24-hour period after that video where he would kind of like try to get a rise much more so out of story or somebody around him. There's like his baseline level of like playfulness and his personality. And then I would notice the 24-hour like spike basically of him always wanting to get like a reaction out of somebody. And so me being able to recognize that and put those two together through experimentation really affirmed a value system that we had with our relationship to screens. And I feel like that was one way that it was showing up in my kids. And then with adults, I think the number one place that I see this is in the social media realm with seeking validation.
Whoa, yeah.
That's where I see it the most. So let's take a Facebook group, for example. We can even just talk about the Facebook, migration in this part of the conversation is, let's take rooted families, for example. Our heart and the framework for rooted families is that people are able to take the wisdom and bring it to the inside. And yet if we're hosting something on a platform where Facebook, for example, the way that it's been designed is that you're rewarded based off of, how many likes you got, or if it stirred up a conversation, it prioritizes those posts to the top versus everything being like, consecutive or like this person
In order.
Yeah, in order of like actual, like everybody's in their timeline, and so that's a really interesting, just to take Facebook for an example, is a really interesting culture that's been curated through Reddit, Facebook. I don't know about TikTok, but Instagram.
Apps that are designed to keep you on there.
Yes, with essentially there being a reward system, and the design of it is to keep you there longer. And it's essentially a culture of it rewarding you for seeking validation, because if you go put like a juicy post in there, or you're emotionally dumping into a Facebook group, and people are activated by that because it's like, it's drama, it's a little chaotic, and there's an element of leakiness is what I call it. Emotional dumping, I think of leakiness, like coming into a group and you're not holding, but you're just like leaking out or spilling out. And so when you think about validation and the way that feeds dopamine, and then looking at the picture of social media, I feel like that is a lot of what has shaped the social culture in the online space. So what's so interesting about the social culture and how we get the dopamine hit from validation from other people is we're actually rewarded the more that we emotionally dump. We're rewarded the more we take inaction, and we're rewarded the more stagnant. Basically, the less steps that we're taking, there's a whole reward system that is created to essentially keep us in that same loop. That's what I see in the social culture.
In a virtual reality.
In a virtual reality. So social culture, do we want to share anything else about Facebook groups and essentially us being in integrity with our own values and the migration happening? Do you have anything to share about that?
Yeah, well, when we built out the Vessel Village is our virtual community. When we built out the village part of it, we intentionally chose to not engage with a social media platform. And we are in social media platforms, right? And like other spheres for other containers that we have. So the Village Birth is on there. You guys have Rooted Families on there. And so the quality of post, and this is just my personal reflection and experience as a facilitator, the quality of the posting is completely different platform to platform. So you get on something that is not social media driven, or you don't have this like already set out context for like how you engage here. So Facebook has like been around for a while.
It's been around for a minute.
Yeah. Like we had it in high school. Did you have it in high school?
Indeed.
Yeah. And you've had it for probably
since 2009, I think, but it was around even before that. So.
Okay. So the way that we're engaging there, of course, it's a more of a difficult transition to shift away from that being the way that you engage there, right? So the Kajabi platform that we utilize, the way that women show up there, we have clear guidelines, we have clear boundaries, and I know you guys do too in Rooted Families, but the way that they show up there is, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I've done. This is the action that I've taken. Is there any calibration that you guys could offer me? Instead of, tell me what's happening with my sons, yada, yada, yada. Or me and my husband are blah, 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 and he's doing this and I don't know what to do. It's like a completely different quality.
It always reminds me of the principle that I know your husband talks about, or he shares this example a lot, is, I know we all talk about it, but the new wineskins, old wineskins and new wineskins. And so if there's a certain culture of Facebook, now Instagram, I remember you and I went on a podcast episode recently and talked about how my relationship, I reoriented myself on Instagram, and now it's a whole different world to me now. And that doesn't mean that everybody else is also orienting themselves, you know? So with Facebook, like, you can show up so different as a facilitator and basically decide how it's going to be. And you are requiring each person to take that responsibility in themselves. Great.
Totally.
And what felt more integrous to us as facilitators was actually creating a new wineskin, a new container for how we would like them to bring themselves towards a community like that. And so same thing in my first experience with another platform was the summer challenge that I've been doing in the Circle community platform. And unanimously, if anybody was commenting on like, whoa, this feels different, what they would say is they were like, it feels cleaner. It feels neutral. I was like, oh, women are noticing that. And the amount of women who have deleted Facebook and Instagram by having a different experience and being like I like experiencing myself in a different container. And I didn't realize how much I was kind of enmeshing into the old wineskins, because there's ways that women in our groups, let's say they recreated a Facebook group. This has happened in Freely Rooted for years now. So they had deleted Facebook, they had recreated a name, and then only joined that group. That'd be a very like clean start way to do it. And then most of the people there are like, here's this person from middle school and high school, and like we're seeing their updates, and like maybe they're unfriending everybody. I'm doing the same thing. So I'm speaking from my,
especially when
totally.
I'm like
unfriend. And so just thinking about the time spent there as well, because when you click on the homepage of Facebook, you see everything in that feed. Yeah. And so depending on what groups that you're in, which you probably unjoined or like left many groups. And so anyways, it's just an interesting concept of even the search function. Because at this point, the Freely Rooted community is basically like an encyclopedia at this point. And what I was noticing is that Facebook changed the search function to keep you on the app longer, where if you typed a keyword in, it doesn't actually pop up. It doesn't actually show you what you're searching. You need to scroll. Genius, by the way. Props to you, Facebook people, Mark Zuckerberg, who have created that. Because I'm like, okay, great. Like for the business model that you're creating, excellent. It worked very, very well. And that was something that was surprisingly refreshing to me in the Circle community, as I was like, oh, wow, when you type in a word in the search function, it shows you the exact 10 posts where that has been mentioned, clean. You don't even have to put in quotation marks. It's just like the search function is
Corey
very
knows
linear.
every single detail about how to get the right search in Facebook groups.
Exactly.
You have to put it in quotes, and it has to be this length.
Yeah, it's like takes skills. It takes some serious skills. And so,
Corey, you were talking about search functions, and all search functions now are going toward AI, right? So they're using that AI generation kind of vibe, right?
Yeah,
where
they've
it's
added it on Instagram and
yeah.
AI
and
search.
Google's already doing it, you know, that kind of thing. And so where I was headed with that in my mind was, that just feeds a different kind of validation seeking, which is to look outside of yourself and to do confirmation bias in the field, looking for the thing you want to know, like the piece of information. And once again, because we talk about this all the time in the festival, is that information does not yield transformation. It's only precise action in doing something that makes a change. and you cannot change if you don't do something different, right? And so in that case, when you search for a piece of information, so what? What are you going to do with it anyway? It's like she who has the most information wins. So they can talk about the subjects. My question is always, what have you done? Like I got a message in Instagram, and she's like, well, in this course, blah, 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 or should I go see Dr. So-and-so? And I'm thinking, it doesn't matter because you're not going to do anything anyway.
I could tell you. And
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
And what are you going to do?
Right.
So it doesn't really matter at this point. What's the thing you'll do? That's the only thing that matters. And then people are like, oh, it's all about the information. It's all about being correct or whatever. And I'm like, actually, it's really not. It's about, can you look at yourself? Can you take a step, evaluate what happened, and then take a different step and evaluate that, and then navigate your way through the world? I mean, that's what True North is all about. It doesn't, the information is inconsequential. That piece of information is not going to change your life.
Well, it's interesting too when you think about ChatGPT, and we talked about this a lot, but we've even had some of the women come on the vessel calls and say like, oh, I ChatGPT this or whatever. And we're like, stop right there. Just take that sentence out of your vernacular. Just don't use that sentence anymore. But number two, so the other thing about ChatGPT, we know this, is that it's programmed by you.
Your keystrokes,
you program
your search engine.
If we're talking about ChatGPT specifically, right? Like that as the artificial intelligence kind of.
Any kind of AI is programmed by you.
It's programmed. And there's multiple, you could go into the whole thing. Like there's multiple different types of intelligence, and there's general learning, and there's large language models, and there's all of these rational thought models. And most people are going to use the basic tool, aka ChatGPT. I've literally heard people call it Chat Daddy, and I make jokes about that. But people are really. Oh, I'm always like, okay, Chat Daddy. This is how we're using it now, and we're using it as therapy. We're using it as psychotherapy. Help me navigate this piece in my life. Tell me this about my spirituality. Tell me this about my response here. How is my response to this person in this relationship? And it's like, yeah, that's very ego validation, but ego seeking. Whatever you've programmed into ChatGPT, that's what it's going to spit out. There was a reel that I sent you guys where there was a woman who I was dumbfounded at this reel, but essentially it was this woman sharing her process with asking her ChatGPT model to generate an image of what ChatGPT thought it looked like and thought it was, and then all these questions about who it is. And she was like, it was literally a picture of her. I'm not lying. It was a freaking picture of her AI generated. And she was like, I can't believe ChatGPT thinks it's a woman. And and I'm like, wait, I was like, satire. And then at the end, there was no trace of
because I need to know if it's okay if I go ahead and laugh.
There was no trace of that. It was
Everybody was like,
whoa.
Yes.
And I was like, what? The whole point of this.
It's like walking into the bathroom, looking in the mirror and going, oh my God, it looks like me.
Oh my God,
yes.
it's me.
I've also seen this a lot with, they'll ask ChatGPT a prompt with something in the victim triangle. So they're wanting to paint something to look a certain way.
Yep.
And they'd be like, I asked ChatGPT, if I wanted to something, then what would you do? And then it spits out all these very specific phrases and language where I'm like, I know that you use that phrase, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just reflecting.
You've already given that as an input.
Yes. And then you put it in the post and everyone's like, how did they know? Oh my God, they
so
nailed
amazing.
it. And I'm like, no, it literally just reflects what you feed it. It's just, and that's where it comes back to the ego piece, which is fascinating in the realm of seeking validation.
Exactly.
So if ego is connected to validation, if you want your ego to be validated, what a dopamine loop ChatGPT would be. I have used ChatGPT. I still use ChatGPT.
Yeah. And we've had these discussions where we'll ask a prompt or do something, and we're like, I actually need to go double check that.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Because you already know it's wrong.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
It's wrong.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. It's a tool. It's a tool.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good point, though. It's like, how do you use it? Like,
Yes.
what do you use
What's
it
your
for?
relationship with it?
What do you use it for, Molly?
I do it for, I'll type out something and say, clean this up. Easy. And then other things are
Like grammatically, structurally, that kind of thing? Okay, cool.
Yep. And
So
then
script writing.
script writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Script writing. And I feel like whenever you're only going to be as artistic with ChatGPT or whatever AI tool as the prompts that you give it, right? So
Right.
that's the whole piece is like, it's
You
like
mean
coding.
the secret's
Yep.
in the question?
The secret is in the question, in the context.
Context.
So you have to give it a massive amount of context to be able to nail exactly what you want. So I'd say that's probably the biggest way that I use it. But still, like if I'm trying to learn new pieces, like I don't know what's the most recent thing that I've tried to learn about, but I'll give it like, hey, I want you to pull from these sources and give me a
Consolidation.
summary. Yeah, give me a summary. And so I'd say those are the two main ways. That's the only
it's
time
kind
I'm
of
really
a
opening it.
research
Yeah.
effect.
And people, people have actually had a really great experience with information consolidation in my spaces where they'll be like, this is something I'd like to learn about. Can you pull from repeat this
Exactly.
and this?
Yep.
And then it'll link all of the like white paper, in which case it kind of becomes like a search engine in that way.
Yep.
I like it for the AI function of if I want to put a table somewhere, I'll take a photo of my deck and then be like, construct 3 pictures for me using this table, this way, and this way. And also, it's almost like I've used it for like almost like an internet assistant in a way where I'm like, I'm looking for a black fire table that ships to Hawaii.
Yeah.
From these, like this is exactly what I'm looking for. So you're putting the specifications in there.
Exactly.
This is exactly what I want. I'm wanting to find but AI, or what I found is that ChatGPT doesn't know the answer anyways.
No.
And so I end up
No.
actually like, so I'm like, I'm just wasting time.
We did
right
that
now.
too when we did a reno. A house flip was like literally give the picture of the house and then my Pinterest board pictures, like pull these pieces together, show us what this could look like with these specifications. I feel like that is a great tool to use something like that for.
Yeah.
Versus so-and-so texted me this and
Oh
I
my
texted them this
God.
and then tell me about what
my
this
God.
what this means about me.
I cannot. That's that. And at the same time, I mean, all they're going to do is feed you back your level of development to your
Yes,
your
This is the
answer.
whole
Yes.
piece.
You know, and I'm over here going, calculate a 3-to-1, protein, fat to protein with at 5.3 da 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 with this many, rucking 20 miles a day
Yep.
at this, and all the calculations
Yep.
related to like expenditure and all that,
Nice.
and then give me 3 meals a day.
We've
for data,
done this.
for data, consolidating data.
My husband and I have done this though too, like where we will be like, we have these ingredients in our fridge. These are the resources, like Half Baked Harvest. These are the resources I want you to pull from. Give me a recipe. And it literally consolidates in
Wow.
5 seconds. And you're like, great.
So it's very, I love it for that too. For the, it's almost like an assistant role.
Yep.
It's
Totally.
like, can you figure this out and just, tell me this. Now, I think that's like, these are the resources. This is what I have. What can I do with this?
Yes.
Right. This is the amount of effort that I want to put out. This is the, this is my stats, blah, 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 and calculation. Great. What we're talking about here is the difference between that and someone making decisions that are more behavior related. And I'm a little terrified of that because
Well, we've seen, I'm right, like what's going to happen. But we've also seen, there's white paper now to prove this, that the upping screen time, the more we've been on screens, the lower IQ humans have and the lower EQ, the
Yeah.
emotional.
well,
intelligence
it's
that we
critical
have.
thinking is like
That,
no critical thinking. The inability to see multiple sides of a situation, those kinds of things, and then also just the the psychosis part where you're drawn in and sucked to the backside of it. And it was so funny. I don't know, maybe I was putting on my makeup this morning or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of when we got our first computer in 98, right?
First in-home
Windows
computers.
98.
It was one of the big iMacs.
Yes.
Okay.
You
yeah.
know,
Nice.
it was red.
Nice.
In case you wondered.
Let's go.
And I can't remember how long people had home computers prior to that. And I was on the internet looking for certain supplements because I've been in functional medicine, supplements, and all that for 30 plus years, right? And so I had gotten to this one website where I knew the product because I'd purchased it, and I was trying to wholesale stuff, right? Because I could. I had, we had EIN, and we were living the LLC lifestyle, right? Because I did it because I could. And so I'm looking for the wholesale aspects of that. And I get to like the back of this one website, and there was stuff in there that, there were photos and weird stuff. And I'm like, where am I right now? And and what was funny, it was confirming for me all the negative things that I'd heard about the internet, right?
The dark web,
and all that. And I'm like, oh, there it is. And I'm able to think critically enough to be like, oh, so what if I think differently about this and use it in the ways that I'm intending to use it, and I'm more intuitive about where I'm going, just like I would if I were, in the streets, right?
Yeah.
And aware and intuitive about it, I'm going to get something different. And I did. And so I could have let that been my confirmation bias and said the internet is bad, right? And I'm like, oh no, this is just a tool.
Yep.
How am I using the tool, and where am I not paying attention to what I'm doing?
Totally.
Right? So I went back to me,
Totally.
my standards, my values, my character,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And so when you do that, then it does change what you do. And what I find, I was talking to my mom about this the other morning. I said, Mom, the lack of character that I'm seeing in people's decisions lately is I don't even know what to say. Like
This goes to the dopamine piece.
They did not learn as children, how to basically navigate these streets.
Common sense.
Okay,
is
is
like
not so
completely
common.
dropped out.
Yep.
And also the range of like what's okay and what's not okay. And I tell people all the time, our country, our context is built on certain laws. They're energetic laws, they're physical laws, they're natural laws. Our context is built on these laws. And if you don't know those systems, then you can end up like out in the deep, feeling like you're stranded, when really you probably just need to stand up and reorient yourself, but you're feeling like you're drowning and you're dying.
Yes.
And people, it's like when we used to swim like on 30A, right, down in the Destin area, and the kids would be getting like, like messed up, right? And we're just like, stand up,
Yes,
just
yes.
stand up,
I've had that experience.
And it's like that. But if you think that's real and you're giving yourself, but you've got to stand up on your 2 feet. You've got to be upright in your body. You've got to be erect in your character and your values and your expression and who you are, your identity, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or you're going to think you're special out there and all this stuff's happening.
Totally.
And actually you're just kind of normal. You just need to stand up and do something. I don't know. I'm just saying, is it possible?
Totally.
Is that totally possible?
So it's a process of know thyself, know your navigation
Your
system
context.
and your context, and what we're seeing as a different way of using AI, and what we suspect the future of AI will be in many different ways. And people have been talking about this. Like people have already been talking about this. Even my brother has been talking about this, the idea that ChatGPT or AI is going to replace people's perception of God. And so whatever that looks
that's
like.
already happened.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
happened.
literally already happened. And so that is an interesting thing to witness, is how easy people have made it for themselves to outsource all of their answers that would be coming from the quiet still spaces. And their relationship with their own, Holy Spirit, God, and then taking that outside of themselves and typing it into something and then going, oh yeah, that's the answer, because of the validation.
Well, it just makes me think of technology in general, right? So if we're thinking about ancient civilizations, something that you've built Mile Wild on is, we've talked about this before, but like your connection to God,
Yep.
your connection to literally physical people,
Yep.
and then your connection to yourself and the land, right? So there's this like element of all of those coming together. When we're on ChatGPT or we're on something like this, it is a technology, but through cultures, we've always had technology. Like ancient technology is a thing. Like the word technology is, I think technos comes from art. It's a craft.
Mm-hmm.
And so art has been, we've engineered this. We're bringing this in as human beings. And so we can utilize it as art. It can be really like, I really do think it could be a very beautiful, we know the conveniences are incredible.
Right.
It's when people are losing these other connections and they're just in this one vein.
Yes.
That they're like, oh, that is God. It's like, wait, you got it mixed up.
And then that shows me that there was never a deep centeredness in the first place, because we will laugh at the chatgpt what it'll spit back to you. So let's say I'm doing like the fire table example. ChatGPT will be like, what an earthy and
I'm sorry.
What prompts did you give
Did it just validate your choice?
It's like validating
like a salesperson.
my style.
Yeah,
And it's
you
always been
probably
easy.
literally put in like, I'm looking for like an earthy tone, yada yada
I'll say
yada.
wabi sabi.
Yeah.
It's a Japanese cottage, and so I'll tell the style of my home. So I'm looking for a very specific style table, and it's hilarious to me to see ChatGPT spit that and I know what they're trying to do, and I'm like, I say they as if it's like a human or an entity.
Like a salesperson in the store going, oh, excellent choice.
Yes,
blah, 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 blah.
It
exactly.
is complete. That
It's
is
a salesperson.
Very great point. Like
No,
every
it
time you
is.
tap, literally every time you have a response, it's like,
It's wheeler dealer vibes.
it is.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like, wow, I love this concept.
There's so many in this whole episode. No, that's such a good point. If you're thinking about the fact that it is essentially as an archetype of like a salesperson or the validator or literally God to some people, then what are they selling? And where is that going to go eventually?
Well, what's the number one tactic? Well, first of all, wheeler dealer salesperson. Okay, say no more.
Yeah.
It's all reflection. It's all the mirror.
Interesting.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
It's the reflection back.
Super interesting.
Yeah, so it's just reflecting all of that. The reason that those archetypes are coming up is because it's the reflective pattern, right? It's just reflecting it back, and you're like, this is so great. It's mirror. That CIA tactic number one is mirror. Give it back.
Wow.
Don't say anything different. Just mirror it back.
Which goes back to the example
God,
of the reel
rapport.
that you saw.
Yeah.
Where it was like, the girl was like, this person looks like, or
It kind of
ChatGPT
looks like me.
This is crazy.
No,
And then it feels familiar to
terrifying
you.
that they think that.
Straight
to
up.
me.
No,
Well-
I felt terrified watching that.
I was like,
And then the familiarity of the comfort, like the receptors that are like, oh, that's familiar to me. Therefore, I'm in rapport with this thing. Therefore, we think alike. Like we're she's like, she's me. She's me.
buddy.
I will
We're
give
so
you
cool.
all
We're
of
so
my power.
vibey together.
Yes.
I don't even know what to say about that.
But that just comes back to literally having no physical frame, no physical action, no like connection to nature. What's natural would be to like ask those questions on the inside.
Yep.
Right.
Like, who is God? Like that's pretty much what she's asking.
Yeah.
Is I come to you with all these things. I want to know who you think you are. It's like, what if you actually, connected instead of typing it in to a prompt?
So with this idea of like artificial intelligence, that is a mind blow even to think about that. If you just think about the definition of what is AI, artificial intelligence, and then just like sit with that for a second and how we're using it.
We should look up what artificial. Do you know any of the etymology of artificial? We should look it up later.
Okay.
For kitchen sessions.
Kitchen sessions. We'll look it up before the back. With this element of artificial use and this idea of like surrogate artificial elements and women especially that are engaging with these things to get like the dopamine validation hit. A little bit of a leading objection. I'm leading. What does it remind you of, Michelle?
Porn.
Heyo.
The P word.
The P word.
Pornography.
Yeah. I mean, I've had these conversations with men that have gone through mentorship, and we've talked about pornography addiction. We call it addiction, but use, whatever, is that a lot of it has to do with the light signatures and the interaction with the screen, also the immediate gratification that comes from being able to do that. And of course, I'm old enough to where I remember paper, right? And we can talk about, 1970s Playboy in the kitchen, and all of the things that went with that. And now it is different. And it's not different for the women.
Interesting.
It's just not. Meaning that the women are actually doing this same process as the men.
Yep.
on Facebook group.
on Facebook, anywhere, any social
so
media. They're
real.
doing the same process.
It's so real.
Hang in there, guys.
Yeah.
Hang in there. Let this integrate.
It's the same
Don't be offended.
thing. Well, now they're offended.
Yep.
Provoked, let's
You're
say.
being provoked,
You're
and
being
it's all good. It's
you're
all
being
good.
provoked
Yeah.
and it's uncomfortable.
So
and
it's
here's
the
the thing.
same behavior.
Yep.
And I'm all about, if you're gonna point that out in someone else, you better
Yep.
Have your clean mirror.
you better be the clean mirror, right?
It's the definition of leadership and being able to calibrate people. You are always held to a higher standard just because
Yes.
you're in a position of finger
Yes.
pointing or calling things out in
Yes.
people. Same exact thing. If we are going to point to the men and go, that's the problem, how many times have you used artificial community, social media, validation, dopamine loops for this instant gratification of something that you were seeking, and is there something so much deeper? Same parallel with the men. It's like the men are, I mean, maybe you have a perspective on this. From what I've heard from men, it's like the deeper desire is connection.
Yeah. Physical touch and connection.
Physical touch and connection. And so that's what's been interesting, looking at the mirrors of the man and the woman when a man is engaging with some sort of pornography addiction. And then, how can the woman meet him in the middle and go like, where is this showing up in perhaps both of our lives? Perhaps.
What's interesting too is I think a big pillar of pornography use for men is some type of release outlet. So whether it's like tension or stress from work or, I don't know, financial burdens or pressure to uphold a certain status standard, that tends to be because of the dopamine element and the release element. That tends to be a nice way to like continue that cycle. And then it's like Pavlov's dog where you get that taste, you're going to keep coming back. And then you add on all of the dopamine seeking activity through the light signature. And then even through, I don't know what the platforms are for pornography necessarily, but I'm sure there have been technology upgrades in pornography to keep you engaged.
Of course.
Right? So it'd be similar to the social media talk.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the dopamine strategies that are used in gambling.
Yeah.
So that, and also dating apps are the same way.
Ooh,
They're all
swiping
they're all
thing.
built on the same dopamine like feedback loops, as far as like the neurology goes.
Okay.
So they're all like right there together.
So it's like reward seeking, keeping you on the app. There's a physical action
Right.
that has to be taken, right? So that's like the
Right.
swipe or the
Right.
holding.
And then the other part of that too is like when you take like electronic use of pornography and women and women's habits with social media too, the principles are the same. You're subject to the same neurological basically game, right? And your ads know this in your feed, the things you save, the way that you squirrel away and save certain things that you have an attachment and an affinity for, it's really no different.
The judgments are
The
different.
judgments are
The
different.
principles are the same.
The principles are the same.
The judgment comes from, there's all these moral pieces with that behavior, not making that right in any way, but that's the morality piece. But if I'm going to be over here and just leaking on Facebook, we're
We
good.
talk about this in Your Mother's Money story,
Yes.
the connection between money and sex. I mean, that's
Yes.
as old as time.
As old as time.
That's that's as old as time. And what we're talking about is the energy of it, right? There's something very, very true and connected there and natural.
That is a really good point, that the morality that's established through like these lines, and maybe it's talked about in church or there's this woman that dealt with this, but like, where is the accountability for women on the other side?
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
We've created it.
Yes.
Literally. I mean, I'm sure there are other people out there creating similar
Containers and
Yes,
frameworks where
frameworks.
you are actually holding a high standard to women and bringing in the energetic law pieces of how people show up and how you show up literally directly feeds into your experience. And we talk about this in the latest webinar of Rooted Families. You talked about it in the vessel. Literally, how you show up can either be creating leaks in your family, in your field, in your body, and you don't know how this thing is related to this, and it's all one and the same, which is why we have such a high requirement in how people show up, because obviously desire for people to have the experiences we know that they can have. They just have to bring themselves to it.
That was really potent, like the last webinar we did in Rooted Families, where we basically held the women to a standard of closing that leak, giving away what's not yours, taking what's not yours. Those kinds of things are very not talked about in women's spaces because since it's not sexual and yet it's related to the same energy
so
center.
related.
Exactly.
Yes.
Same
It's your
energetic
creative
systems.
potential.
Yes.
Yeah, same
This
deal.
is the
you're
same zone.
you're giving it away. You're not storing it. And in different, I'm really big into wisdom systems, right? And so I have read many different types of sexual wisdom systems related to different types of tribes and peoples and things like that. And that's what they used to teach.
How to navigate that.
How to navigate that. Where it adds to, where it takes away from, all of that was taught, and it's not taught anymore. Now it's
hidden.
exploited in things like Tantra, different, types of sexual practices and things like that. But it's really more just for the pleasure, not the energetic accountability that goes with having that, like electricity in its wires, right? With the casing on the wire. And now with all of that exposed, especially where everybody's so hyperfixated on pornography, the women have the same energetic uncovering in a different way, and it's not different.
Yeah. Well, the context of the Rooted Families webinar, just to share like the highlight piece of it, was the high prevalence of women going in on a course together, breaking the framework of the course, or purchasing a course and then sharing their passwords. I can feel the people listening being
tension.
like, yeah. So that is
And
what
the energetic implications.
and the energetic implications of what happens, because this is an actual law. It's one people like to, everybody knows it. They know this on the inside.
What's interesting is one of the scriptural codes, like in the Western Bible, one of the scriptural codes about this, that the women and the men are not different in this, is the mote and the log. So the speck and the log. The scriptural code is the speck in yours and the log in mine. I'm not feeling the log in mine. I see the speck in yours. And therein lies the energetic principle, right? Is that I'm going to take care of my log before I go like trying to get your speck, right? Not even that's my job.
Exactly.
Everybody has to tend to themselves, right? But it's the
Exactly.
perspective is I don't see what's big and close to me. I see what's little and far away from me and you. And that's one of the codes in our Western Bible, but people don't apply it.
Exactly.
They don't think about that. And I've been talking about energetic accountability for years, like 2 years in Rooted Families now, right? So finally, longer, 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years for
Almost.
sure.
Yeah. We're going into our third year. So for 2 years, 12 webinars deep. So you've been talking
So
about it.
finally, someone steps up and said, I did it. I had this experience.
Yeah. It made restitution.
And
I
made
did it
restitution.
like I shared a password.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I split a course or shared a password or whatever.
Happened.
And then what that gives them is this validation, oh, I'm saving money, or I'm this person's going to like me because we went in and did this thing together. And energetically, it's a train wreck.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a freaking train wreck of energy leaks.
Absolutely.
And they're like, oh, and we've seen this, like people have taken stuff out of courses and gone and put it behind paywalls and stuff like that. And I just sit back and go, let me know how,
Let me know
Don't
how
know
this
what that
goes.
She's
gonna smoke a cigar.
this
Smoke my
is what it was.
cigar.
This is what I meant to do. I went like this.
Well, there's that one, but there's also
What you
the
guys doing over
stogie.
here?
There's also the stogie, right? There's also the cigar. I'm just going to sit back here and watch this go
Yep.
down because it only goes one way.
It only goes one way. It
Yeah.
is a predetermined outcome
Yes.
because of the laws in place.
The dominoes are going to fall.
Yes.
I hope your kids are going to be okay.
Yeah. You guys think we're not aware that this happens
All the
of
time.
the time in the online space. This has been happening in Freely Rooted for years and years and years. And what's funny about it is, because we had this conversation with this woman, she was like, this is like, people have talked to you guys about this before. And I'm like, I find out. It's just that somebody tells on somebody. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens in the past. And this was, I think, one of the first experiences where the woman actually said, I want to make restitution. This is the action that I've taken. This is how I'd like to make restitution.
So when you map it back over to the porn conversation, you want him to come clean. You want him to have certain values and character. And I'm like, sis,
Tell me
come
about
on.
yours.
Tell me
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Women are just secretive about it. They'll just hide it better.
Yeah, they just hide it better.
Yeah.
Or it's walking this line so carefully that it's like a kitty cat.
Yep.
You know, they're not going to fall. They're not going to trip yet. And it's all there.
Yeah.
I think it's the justification piece.
Because
And it's because the morality. It's the morality thing. It's like taken off just a little bit because I'm helping somebody.
I'm
or
helping somebody.
I'm nourishing my community, or I don't know what the.
we talk about in Rooted Families, I'm sure you guys have in the vessel, the relationship between mission or ministry, or like I'm helping this person, so therefore I'm entitled to do this.
I'm sorry, was my eye roll loud enough? Because I felt like it might needed to turn,
Rewind,
turn it up a little bit. Like, okay,
Yes.
now it's on.
So
Yeah.
we justify based off of it's our ego that says, I'm doing this, I'm helping, I'm fixing. And then it's the entitlement that goes with that, where it's just like anything goes as long as I'm helping and fixing somebody or somebody. Yeah.
Robin Hood,
Yeah.
baby. Put your tights on. Let's go. Let's go steal some food.
Exactly. And I think that the lack of restitution that we see in our modern day, especially with this whole sharing passwords things, that this is just unbelievably common in the online course world space, digital products, etc., is that people don't know what to do with tension. So when tension, like you guys listening, I already know, there's like this feeling of tension, you'll go, like, what are you going to do? Pray it away? Like
You want to get it away.
eliminate it.
Yeah.
You want to
Eliminate.
Same thing like body. I'm like a chiropractor. Body tension. It's like, take it away from me. Take it for me.
Exactly. Take it.
Take it.
Yeah. Versus like actually, I mean, we were joking about this in the webinar, but we were like, literally there is a code in the Bible that tells you exactly what to do whenever you have like made a wrong, or actually wronged your neighbor. And 100% of the time, you're going directly to that person. 100% of the time.
It reminds me of, okay, this is obvious. I'm like getting
Are you
closer to the
about
portal.
to be petty?
I was going to go birth with that. Like, think about a contraction, a typical contraction. There's so much intensity and tension.
Ooh,
What do you do with that tension?
so good.
What did you do with that tension when you birthed?
So
Did
good.
you say, I want to take it away? I want to take it away?
Yes.
Or did you say, like, no, like, let my body feel this, or move this tension into something
It
else?
produces,
Yes.
it serves, it
serves.
creates.
It's literally
and
getting,
when you take that
giving-
away,
yeah.
there's no energy in the system to be able to produce, create. And I think the piece with the pornography is that, and it's just like with anything else, as we technologically progress, as our physicality, our physical reality changes with all the addition of all of these things.
As we become weak humans,
Yep.
literally everyone's weak. Sorry.
It's true.
It's true.
It's
We're
true.
becoming less efficient.
It's
Yep.
true. It's true. There is this natural collapse happening,
Yeah.
right? Because of the lack of integrity and the lack of filling from the inside out, I call it. And so when you're in that space, the important part of that is, yes, there are these things that are happening that are poor reflections of value and character, right? Or they are not aligned with value and character, or value and character is not established to be expressed, right? And there's a call for it. There's a need for it. There's an uprightness in the world that wants that to be present, right? And then all of these actions are undermining that. And then, of course, what happens is it begins to topple and fall. The other part of that is, as we move through and into these higher technological inputs, if you will, then the human's beginning to change. And the relationship is completely different. It doesn't make what wants to be present go away, though. That's the thing.
It's still going to come through.
The human makeup and core need is still the same. To love and be loved, to see and be seen, feel and be felt, to have connection, and all of these things that give us the experience of being human. And it's all connected to our willingness to take an action. And almost everything in our field right now is designed to keep us from doing that.
Michelle, that was gold. I think this is going to be an episode that you guys watch through a few times and, you know, integrate as it comes and sit with the tension, because a lot of things that we talked about perhaps provoke tension, create tension.
Hopefully.
And they might present a challenge.
And
right?
and present action. And they might
Action, right.
inspire action. Yeah. So get some movement in.
In the Vessel and Rooted Families in True North, we specifically talk about this relationship between your humanness, your charge, the way you maintain your integrity as a being with your character and values, the way you are in the world, and what you bring to you.
Exactly.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
That's a great point, because that is something where if you guys are listening and you're like, I would really love a landing space to explore the Vessel.
Yeah.
With both you guys together.
Well,
True
the
North.
Vessel, the doors will be closed, I think, the day after this comes out.
Oh, great.
So for the community. So this will be your last 24 hours essentially to get in.
Yep.
But then you have True North.
Yep.
True North Woman, which is a precursor for True North couples, which is incredible.
And then if you want to work with your family unit in that way, that would be Rooted Families. And Kyle and I are absolutely stoked city is my phrase of the day.
I love that.
All right, that just came up with it, guys.
Corey and Kyle are lit sauce.
We're lit sauce. We are lit sauce about year number 3. And basically year number 3, we together are going to be taking all the families through a season by season, like actual season of the year. Integration of all the principles that we brought into Rooted Families the first 2 years, and we're taking it deeper and then rhythmic according to the season that you're in. And so
I'm so excited about that.
I am so excited. So that's what's coming. Year 3 starts October 9th. There will absolutely be a sale for that. And yeah, like a month or so from when this comes out. And then the Vessel, what's the last day of entry?
So it'll be the last day of August.
For 2025.
For
and then it won't open again until 2026.
Yep.
Great.
But all of these principles, many of these principles are in the energetic laws and the physical laws, the natural laws. They're all in the Your Mother's Money Story, which is open for anybody to purchase a la carte.
Amazing. We'll see you guys in the kitchen sessions, and we will see you on the next episode.
See ya.